We want to introduce the news review panel this morning that we have that will be helping us to take a look at what has been happening the entire year of 2019. And even as we look at the prospects, or the perspectives of 2020, Javas Bigambo, a governance consultant, karibu sana to the show.
Thank you so much.
Wanjiru Gikonyo, national coordinator from TISA, karibu sana to the show. And Dr. Sam Kamau, finally, we have two Sams on the table, Karibu Sana and Ambassador Yvonne Hamati. Thank you so much for making time for us on Daybreak.
Asante.
And I want us to begin by looking at what's in the papers. You see that on the front page of the Daily Nation, there's Ruto out to crush me, says Mutua. And this is the governor of Machakos, Dr. Alfred Mutua, who says that he was petrified not only by the threatening words uttered by Dr. Ruto, but also by the intensity of his eyes and angry tone of his voice. Machakos governor says in a statement which was immediately dismissed by the deputy president's supporters as fictitious and fit for television shows script. That's on page 4 of the Daily Nation. That is the details that you find there. So he was at Kilimani police station in Nairobi and he recorded a statement regarding those particular threats to his life. And he also joins the majority leader Aden Duale and Senate Majority Leader Kipchumba Murkomen, who he says were at State House on the 11th of December. That is on the eve of the independence of the country. So, Javas, what do you think? Does it carry any weight, or whatever narrative that Governor Mutua is leveling against the deputy president?
Sure, it does. It does carry so much weight. But what matters is what kind of weight. It's paperweight, if you like. I would say this, that while Governor Mutua is rightfully placed to make whatever claims, but you see, looking at it with very clear lenses, by way of those accusations alone, first, it makes State House a crime scene where this happened. Secondly, it casts suspicion on various issues to do with even surveillance. And I would be very keen to see the kind of witnesses that will be lined up on this matter upon prosecution. Thirdly, is that while Governor Mutua speaks to how he was petrified by this, one wonders whether a nation is being bamboozled by some kind of politics that could be ensuing out of some issues that happened about 2 or 3 weeks ago. For instance, we know very well that ambition hangs around Governor Mutua's neck now that he's at the close of his second term. And with speculation upon the other, that, for instance, former Vice President Kalonzo Musyoka could be angling to see how to work with, say, Deputy President Ruto in a possible kind of coalition.
Do you believe there's such possibility? It was just words of Senator Muthama?
It's not a matter of faith. And I wouldn't want to cite Senator Muthama as an authority in these matters. But I would say this, that in politics, really, nothing can petrify God himself. Because who in his or her real imagination even ever entertained the thought that President Kenyatta would close ties with his erstwhile political nemesis, Raila Odinga? So anything is possible. And whether it works with and for Vice President, Deputy President Ruto working with Kalonzo Musyoka or any other person, right? I think we leave it to whatever strategies they have in their quarters. But thing is this, it could be one way of stealing the limelight, all right, and trying to steal the thunder from the possible headlines about Deputy President Ruto working with Kalonzo Musyoka. Right. Even if there could be weight in these matters, looking at it through legal lenses, one would wonder the kind of weight that this kind of matter, if at all these charges were to be pressed, would really hold against, say, Deputy President William Ruto.
And Wanjiru, this is not the first time we are seeing politicians exchanging words that would be construed or misconstrued to be...
Sorry.
Right.
Yvonne. Two things. A question was being thrown. I'm gonna. I will give you a space. I will definitely give you a space.
Go ahead, Yvonne.
But two things. He said political nemesis of Uhuru Kenyatta, Raila Odinga, right?
Former.
Actually, you mean brother?
Yeah, at present they're brothers.
Yes. So one of the things that we need to get right is that the only real political ally, friend, that Uhuru has is Raila Odinga.
Why do you say so?
Because...
Friend?
Yes, friend, ally, brother of Fidel. Let's get back to Jomo Kenyatta and Jaramogi Odinga. Let's get back to a family that has been together for decades.
Right.
Since independence. And let's get back to people that are angry, that they think, look like, that, assume that Uhuru has betrayed anybody else. No, he hasn't betrayed anybody else. He's true to the deal and the pact that was made between his father.
But Ambassador, what are your thoughts when you see a governor, Dr. Alfred Mutua, coming to claim that the deputy president is threatening his life? Should the country pay attention, or is it just words, like some have said, theatrics?
In terms of the governor, what I would say personally, knowing the governor, is that, well, I think that the states can manage that issue. And that there was no reason for him to come out in public to say some of the things that he did.
Okay.
And that's fine. But that notwithstanding, I think we're seeing the positioning of the players, of the political players coming in.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. I want to get an excerpt of what Dr. Mutua is saying, that Duale said that, what is wrong with you? Then Governor Mutua said, what do you mean, my friend? Then Duale says, you've been attacking us and we will deal with you. Then he says, how have I been attacking you? Then Murkomen says, watch a Zako, we have to teach you a lesson. Then Governor says, what have I done? When did I attack either of you? Then Duale says, when you attack our team, you attack us. Then the governor says, team. Then Murkomen says, you've been attacking the DP. Duale says, ukiguza DP, unaguza sisi. When you touch the DP, you also touch us. And then the governor says, I don't get you. Then Duale and I get along very well. And then Murkomen says, huyu niachie, I will fix him. Then Murkomen walked away to speak to someone else. And so, is it just small talk among politicians, or is it something to have weight?
Actually, my distress or even disgust with all of this is that it makes public news, because this is political posturing, political infighting. In fact, if we strictly looked at Chapter 6, conduct of state officers, this kind of public diatribe would actually border on, conduct unbecoming. So I would put it a different way. Our politics has descended to the lowest level possible. And this has been a long time coming, various incidents taking place. And the lack of a political culture at the party level is, really exemplified very much by the utterances and the conduct of, party leaders and their lieutenants. So we are then being treated to a level of political discourse that is really an insult to Kenyans. At a time when we are facing a lot, first of all, there's economic findings. We have a shrinking economy. We've got real economic challenges. We've got recent deaths because of lack of disaster preparedness. And our politicians sit there, and the only thing they're interested about is 2022. They start campaigning the moment they get elected.
Right.
So the unfortunate thing is that it is making headline news. That's unfortunate. It shows the level to which we've descended. And I think even as media, there's a need to stand back and say, how can we really, make this really a footnote story? Because I'm not even sure it's a story. And the second thing is, this is the problem we have yet to tackle, the lack of political accountability and the total divorce between what our politicians think is a priority and what Kenyans need. So politicians serve themselves, and yes, it is posturing, it's alignment for 2022. we are in 2019. Right now, they should be talking about performance.
Right.
The discussion should be about what did the president say in Jamhuri, what is the most, what are the issues that are pertaining on Kenyans. So for me, that's where I come from. And I really can't get into, even on Twitter, I saw this discussion and I was like, total disgust.
Okay.
Send these guys home, all of them, if we could.
I mean, Dr. Somkama, at the end of the day, people will say this is just political conversation. This is how, this is the language that is used in the political world.
Let me make 2 observations. One, if somebody claims their lives are in danger, I will not be quick to dismiss if they believe their lives could be in danger. But given the person who is saying this was opinion for drama, we know that. Then, and this is not the first time we have seen, politicians come out and say, I have reasons to believe my life is in danger. And, just a few months ago, we had a similar incident where apparently it was claimed that certain, some people are planning to assassinate a certain person. So, while on one hand, I will not be quick to dismiss anybody's claims, and it is due to them. If they go and make a report, to a police station, then let the police investigate the matter. But I think, and I agree with my sister here, we're being treated to political drama. Right. Basically, this was the idea to actually achieve, page 1, headline space in the papers. And I guess that is that's the reason we are discussing this particular issue. Because when you read now, when you're asking whether this is ordinary, usual political talk, which happens a lot even in ordinary conversations, then perhaps it's just what this person wanted, basically get space, and then now we start talking.
I would say
that is not
true. For instance,
totally.
We don't like
that is not true.
Just a moment, Javas. Let's be orderly because we need to be very clear on the conversation that we're having. And I asked a question about the situation of 24th of June 2019 of leaders going to the DCI to record statements. And I'm asking, it will be 6 months on the 24th of this month that we heard of allegations at the highest level of management in this country. How should we treat that as a country going to 2020?
The question arises. First, there was no principal complainant in that matter. All right? The deputy president himself did not lodge a complaint or file a complaint with the DCI, much as by way of his office, it became a critical matter of national interest and security.
But doesn't that not bother you when the deputies like is a threat and no investigation?
It sure does. But now it bothers me even more that close to 6 months later, we have not had a very substantive report or affirmation or otherwise dismissal of those claims by way of investigations by the office of the DCI. That bothers me more. Just as much as it would bother me that somebody would even threaten the life of a deputy president or any national leader. And for me, it is prudent and important that the DCI, for instance, should step forward and clear this matter. Speak pellucidly about the kind of investigations that have been undertaken on the claims made by the quarters of the deputy president in the times past, 6 months now. Today, if Governor Mutua is making such kind of claims, and I've read even the statement that he put forth and he recorded, when you look at the kind of claims and the verbatim positioning of issues, really,
looks like a movie script.
And not just a movie script. I think we are trying to position, or Governor Mutua is trying to position himself for a life after politics, entertaining a nation with a new kind of movie script.
Of course, the stories...
I don't want to pour cold water on those claims. Let the officers that are
supposed to look into
do this work, the DCI, etc., do it. But if the DCI has not come forth with a clear report on the claims on the life against the life of the deputy president, then what will the office of the DCI do about this?
Are we sure that the DCI has not come forth?
I have not read any statement hitherto.
Was a formal complaint filed, and was it pursued?
Thank you very much.
We will continue with this conversation. Ambassador Yvonne and Wanjiru Gikonyo, we'll take a short break. When we return, we'll continue the conversation. We'll also be looking at state of the economy as we review the events of 2019 and how they influence activities and conversations of 2020. We are back in a moment. You can text in your views on 2422 or Twitter at Citizen TV Kenya, at Sam Gichuku at Zinzi_K. The hashtag to use is the break. We're back in a moment.